All right, so picking up where we left off last time, let's go ahead and fix the aesthetics of the list of ingredients when adding a new post. So what I'm referring to is, if I go here, and I start adding, let's say an ingredient, let's say 1 cup of flour. That's pretty ugly. So let's fix that by putting do a couple different things. Go to new post view, and for each item in recipe, let's find, or sorry, in ingredient. There we go. So we should be like roughly around line 150 here if you wrote everything like I did. And then we'll get rid of that. We don't like these colors. That's kind of ugly. So instead, we'll make this a dark gray. So almost like a 50 out of 255, or we can just say 0.3 roughly. Okay. And then for each of those, we will give them a, let's say, padding 5, and maybe a background color of, let's make it just darker than this 0.95 that we had there. Let's say for background of color. Let's give that an initializer. Let's see. This is the one I want. Actually, okay, I just could have just done that. So color dot, and maybe that one will be like a 0.8, 0.8, 0.8. Okay, we'll save it, and maybe lastly, corner radius. Let's just say 5. Save it, run it. Let's look at what we got. Hmm, 0.8. There we go. Save it, run it, and then let's look at the next thing that was going to be on our list while that compiles. We want to set up the ability to add more than one photo to each of these posts. That's actually a pretty big one. So we'll do that next. Let's see how that looks. Just make sure it looks a little bit nicer. Well, that keeps building. Let's figure out how we're going to do that. So right here we had image and UI image. So we're actually going to change what this is right here. So let's just check. Let's add an ingredient. Make sure we like that. 1 flour. 1 cup of flour. I think that already looks a little bit nicer. So what we'll do is maybe just next time this runs, we'll make it like a 0.85 and a slightly bigger padding. Okay. So just say 0.85 and a slightly bigger padding, maybe like a padding of 8. Okay. If anything, I actually really like the padding on the top and bottom. I just don't like the trailing and leading. So dot leading, padding. There we go. Just give another 3, and I'm going to keep on the same line. It's not really typically how it's done, but I like that because I don't want to keep wasting vertical space for no reason. If it's all going to be padding anyway. So save that. Now let's go look at images up here. So this right here, we actually want it to be. I'm going to make this say. Well, let's go find everywhere we were using it. How many times did we use this in here? We used this 28 times. So it's not going to be a small thing to go through and change. So what I want to do actually is I want to grab let's double check every one of these 28 uses is exactly what we're looking for. So we have 1 use, 2 use. So far it's 2 out of maybe 10. That's a 3rd use. Yeah, so realistically we didn't use it too many times, but we did use it a lot, and this is a pretty big view overall. So what I want to do here is I want to change that to be images, okay? And I want this instead to be an array, okay? And that is going to have some pretty big effects here, okay? So Well, first thing, let's go to the first place we were using that. So the first place we were using image is we were using it right here. Okay, so when I picked an image, it would previously just show that icon as a placeholder. But once I've picked one, this is what I'd see. Okay, so it would replace it. So I would end up in here. I would end up right here. Okay, so what I actually need this to be now is I want to actually put an H stack. Okay, and inside that H stack, I'm going to put this for now. Okay, but the first thing I need to do is actually I need to change image to images. Okay, and so we'll say if images is not equal to nil. Okay, actually, even better is we should actually just do this. We don't have to do an optional. We can just do like that. So we can say if images.count is greater than 0. Okay, then we can, for now, we'll just have it show the first image in that list of images we've chosen. Okay, let's find the next place we were using images, or the image. So, image. Okay, we didn't use it there, we didn't use it there, we didn't use it there. Okay, well, so now here's the next place. This was the button for submitting a recipe. Okay, this one is going to be pretty big. So what we're going to do is we're going to change this one and just say, we'll say, instead of saying if let this image, because we were just unwrapping an optional image, this one, similarly, we'll say if images dot count is greater than 0. And then what we'll come here and do is we'll say this recipe post. Okay, and this will say image, and we'll say images 0. Okay, and then we'll keep scrolling down. The next place we use this image or anything with relating to the global image variable, we'll have this one say images 0 as well. Okay, we'll keep scrolling. Let's find the next place we used image. Show image picker. Okay, okay. So here's where it gets. We really are getting into the nitty gritty. So, image picker is a huge place where we have it. So, one thing we'll put on our list here is can't forget to modify image to images in the image picker. Okay. And then let's find the next place, see if there's any more on this page right here. That should be it. So that was the last place on this page. Okay. Perfect. So if that's the last place on this page, let's go look at image picker. So going to image picker now. Now we need, instead of having the binding variable of images, or single image is going to be images, and it's going to be an array of UI image. Okay. And then we need to also do the same thing in here. Now let's images. And now we can do the same thing here. We should be left just with an issue down here. Okay, and we can come here and just say dot append UI image. If we save it, that should be good. Let's run it. So we're getting an issue down here. Yes, right there. Save it, little details. Okay, we come back up here. sim principle. Just make sure. With little changes like that, you run into a lot of the same kind of issues. We have a couple more errors, probably back on the other page. Yeah. Images and images. Okay. So now we'll try to run it, and let's see what happens. A few more issues. Let's find them. Okay, self dot. Some of the issues we didn't have before. It's just recognizing the fact that we were in a closure and we had to say self.images. Okay, so everything should actually still look exactly the same, but we've set ourselves up to actually select multiple images now. So now I selected that image, I close, and it still looks like that. All right, well, the reason that's good now is because what we originally wanted was for this to show us all the images we had chosen, okay? So we're going to go down to where we had that. That is down here next to, that should be right here. Okay, that's inside, that's above where we had we're in this text done, okay? And we just said for each 0 through 8, create a rectangle that looked, or I should say that looked like these black rectangles up top. Okay, we don't want that anymore. Instead, what we want to do is we want to say that VStack had a scroll view, and we're going to say if images, if self.images.count was greater than 0, then you can show all that. There we go, okay? But we don't need to show that whole scroll view if there's not even any images to display in it. Let's say else. All we want right there is, let's say an HStack. Sorry. Else, then we'll put an HStack. Okay, that will have these same two pieces right there. And we'll put a spacer and another spacer. And then just a text that says, please select an image from below. We'll run it. And see what we get. Come here. It's a photo library. Please select an image from below. Now when we click it, we get these black squares, right? Now to take it a step further, let's actually open up where we have this for each, and we'll say for each 0 dot dot self dot images dot count. Okay, we'll say I in, and then we'll say image, a UI image, and then images I. We'll just give it a max height. Won't give it a max width, but we will say dot resizable. Okay, sorry, that should be image right there. Dot scaled to fit. And this maybe this should have been scaled to fit, but we'll figure that out in a second. Or scaled. There you go. All right, we'll see what happens next. Here we go. Pick an image. There's the first one, so obviously it didn't work out the way we wanted. Let's put that here. That should fix that. So we'll run that again. That should work now. There we go. Photo library. So now we can't have more than one though. It's not letting us see more than one. Okay, and so to address that issue, what we actually need to do right here, so for this for each loop where we're putting these images in, these images actually need to be identifiable in some form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create something new here. Say struct, and we will say identifiable image. Then I inform identifiable protocol var ID equals UID. Okay, image equals UI image. Actually, sorry, just like that. There we go. And what we'll need to do is we'll need to change this to be identifiable images. Okay, like a capital I. I'm gonna make it that, so we gotta change that up there too. Okay, and that means I'm gonna have to go everywhere I had that. I'm gonna say dot image. That one should be good. Images. Anywhere where we had images like that, I'm going to say dot image. Dot image. Anywhere else. Dot image. I'm pretty sure that's the last one. Alright, save it and run it. Most likely we're going to get an error because if my memory serves me right, the image picker itself is actually looking for an array of UI image. So we need to give it, we need to let it know that it's looking for an array of identifiable UI image. Put that there, Actually, that one will stay like that. And then this is the, let's get rid of that just for a second. Okay, so that ran, which means that the only thing I need to do actually is I'm going to bring that back, and I'm just going to say it needs to append with an identifiable image. We'll just say image of UI image. That is referring to that. Okay, save and run it. There we go. So that should work out just fine. All right. Same error, but that's okay. What we need to do is we need to just go back here where we had this for each, and we can say for each, and just say images. Okay, ID, .id. And that should work. Or might say self.id. Probably don't even need that. Most likely that's just going to be there we go. So that should work just fine now. Now we can see all the images we're choosing to put in there. They all get to maintain their aspect ratio as well. Okay, so I'll click. So now that I got that working, okay, I'll click done. Now I need this one to do the same thing. Okay, so I'm actually just gonna grab this right here. I'm gonna copy that. I'm gonna make my way all the back up to the top. By the way, let's get rid of this junk we had from earlier. Okay, so those should be empty now. Okay, and right up here where we had if images count is greater than 0, let's just put that in there. We have an H stack for each, and then probably what we'll end up changing is this part here. Okay, and realistically what we'll actually do is we'll put the background color right there. Let's get rid of the padding. the background color there. Then we'll say, okay, so actually let's go backwards. So we want an H stack, and I'm gonna, inside that H stack, I'm gonna put a for each. I'm gonna take all the stuff that we copied, and I'm just gonna comment it out so we can use it as a template more or less. I'm gonna take this part here. Okay, and then I'm gonna make this say, okay, and I'm gonna make this say I.image, and it'll be resizable. Scale to fit, it'll be frame. It's all we need to actually dictate here is probably just the height. So we'll just say the height is going to be, let's see what we had previously said. Let's actually just, for now, we'll give it a height of, we can pick anything, I guess. So let's just put 300 for now. Now I'm going to take that background of black and put it out here on the H stack. Save it and run it. Let's look at what that looks like. We might end up wanting something a little bit bigger, to be honest. But whatever we decide on, there it is. Okay, let's put another picture in there. Okay, so what we need here, realistically, is a scroll view. So let's put a scroll view outside. And that scroll view needs to be horizontal. Save it and run it. All right. Photo library, let's pick 2 pictures. All right, and that's looking pretty much like what we'd wanted. Go here and say, first let's say spacing of the H stack, spacing 0, okay? We need to we are going to give this a definite width of 0, width of UI screen dot main dot bounds dot size dot width. Okay, first we're going to go to the right here, this height. We're going to make this height 300. Okay, that's going to give us some more room up here. And when we do that, I'm also going to take down this padding to about 50, because with the whole scale to fit thing that was happening, that placeholder icon was really being dictated by this padding, its size. So I'm going to take that to 50. Okay, and so now I just need to set an upper limit for how big that VStack that contained the plus button could be. So I'll save that. And then I'll need to also make sure that I want to put a spacing of 0 here. Spacing of 0 on the H stack and the scroll view. I want to give the scroll view a black background. And one thing we forgot to do earlier was we had put a corner radius of 5 on something down here. If you remember what it was actually right here. So this was where, if you remember, we were kind of stylizing that list of ingredients. So I want to actually take that because I want to use it on the steps as well. So one thing I needed to do, by the way, was after we did the background, we needed to just put another dot padding of dot bottom of, actually, we probably needed to grab it from there, so I'll get rid of that one. So I'm going to take all that, I'm going to go to where we had steps, and I'm going to use the same exact piece of code, okay? So down here, All right. And that foreground color that we had that we liked from over here, I'll take that too. Okay, save it, run it. Let's see what we got. We should have a pretty nice looking app right now. So this is a little more small. Go plus here, photo library. And I can pick a couple photos. Done. Here are my photos. Okay. Yeah, I mean, everything's looking pretty good, and I guess we'll keep going. Let's make sure we like these as well. So 1 cup of flour. 1. Say 2 cups of salt. Okay, that's a nice spacing right there. This one will say add eggs. Sift flour. All right, it looks good. Okay, we'll keep moving along in the next